Welcome to the Awecast, where we dive deep into what makes you truly awesome. I'm your host, Dorchester Koning, founder of Awe Academy. In every episode, we explore the power of awe, not just as a feeling, but as a tool that transforms how we learn, grow, lead, live, and love. As each guest shares what sparks their curiosity and how they work with wonder, we connect with a deeper sense of awe. So, take a breath and get ready for some interpersonal magic. Welcome to the Awecast. Hello and welcome to the Awecast. Today my guest is Brandon Santiago, whom I met at the College of Extraordinary Experiences. I found him to be a very warm and inspiring human, and that's why I wanted to talk to him and get to know him better on the Awecast. Hello, Brandon.
Hi, good to see you. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Life is really good right now, and choosing that thought and that mindset. It's the end of the year, so it's a little busy, kind of a crazy time, but I'm feeling more grounded. Yeah, I'm feeling a welcome change in energy heading into December, and I'm really excited about the new year. And I feel like I'm searching and attaining and grasping for peace on a daily basis.
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. And so it makes me really curious to know a little bit more about you as well. We don't know each other very well, but we met at the College of Extraordinary Experiences.
We do.
And we have this kind of beautiful exchange of energy and ideas and just something that really resonated with both of us. And I felt like I really wanted to share this joy with other people. So I decided, let's have Brandon on the show and see what he has to say about all of this.
I'm so honored. And your light was so bright at the college, and you were just it's a crazy place, and you shined in so many ways.
Thank you. Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about what awe means to you and how it shows up in your life?
I love that question, and it's something that I think about a lot. And I feel like I try truly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on the Awecast, but I try and find moments of awe in the everyday, in the mundane, in the ordinary. It's something I really try and practice. And I feel like once you give yourself over to the idea that the universe is always showing off for you, you can start to see it in every single thing. And so, yeah, awe to me it feels like it's the moment when I realize that I'm connected to the entire collective consciousness, to the entire universe. I'm connected to the person that I'm speaking to that's in front of me. I'm connected to the 8 billion people on the planet. I'm connected to the blade of grass. I'm connected to the trees. And I do get this sense of it's also humbling, but it is awe-inspiring. And physically it shows up kind of in my chest. I feel like I kind of exit from my chest, and I feel myself being proud that I'm a part of this amazing, beautiful creation that we exist in, this crazy, wild planet, in this vast, unknowable universe. And all, yeah, shows up in so many different ways, big and small for me often.
All right. And have you had this ever since your childhood, that you feel that you want to seek out this being part of a whole, or did you get this in your upbringing? Like, were you brought up to believe that there's a bigger thing out there that we're a part of?
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, no, I think, there is sort of that. It's a mixture of your genetic ingredients mixed with your lived experiences, also your past traumas. And I think I always have had the disposition of life is good, even in the midst of a really turbulent, tumultuous upbringing. Like my childhood was not filled with a lot of joy and awe, apart from the moments that I feel like I really tried to create that. And I love movies and fantasy and comic books, and oftentimes those were sort of my reprieve from what reality was. And I also had a beautiful mom who, despite all the crazy circumstances, I felt like was always trying to curate moments of awe. I always tell a story that every Friday we would go to the $1.50 Super Saver Cinema. And
Yes.
my mom, me, and my sister. And we couldn't afford vacations, but we would go to this super affordable theater and we would watch sometimes the same movie for 7, 8 weeks in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, I looked forward to it. And that definitely was a big part of, finding awe in the weekly, sometimes the chaos, but when I'm in my most grounded self, I think that I'm always looking for moments of inspiration and joy, finding it in others, finding it in myself.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and makes me curious to know what film that you saw back in the day, or maybe what music affects your state of awe and your openness to it. Is there any particular song or film that really stood out in your life, or still does?
Great questions. I'll answer a couple of them. Yeah, we saw Beauty and the Beast like 10 times in a row. Like it was
Yes.
the thing. And my mom, my sister, and I, we loved it. And it did spark a passion early on that has transitioned to a bunch of different ways. But I love the storytelling and the whimsy of Disney and this idea of this girl who is feels trapped in her provincial town and there's
Hmm.
something bigger. And usually when you feel like there's something bigger, that means that there is something bigger.
Hmm.
But even this idea of the beast, who I think I resonated with a little bit more of like in the midst of maybe some anger, some frustration, even some bad luck,
Hmm.
you can transform into something beautiful, and you could be an amazing partner and protector. And yeah, that movie resonated with me, but also just the idea of storytelling for adults and children. I think
Hmm.
that ultimately we all want the same thing in our stories, and so I really think that those movies kind of drew me to where I'm at today. Music wise, that's a good question. There was a few years ago, I was in the Dominican Republic and I was going to Puerto Rico. So I'm Puerto Rican. I was going to Puerto Rico for the first time, and
Mm.
I just felt like a calling and a yearning to go check out my homeland, who I'd never been to. And I
Right.
just finished reading this book called The Alchemist, and
Hmm.
I was on the plane to Puerto Rico, and one of my favorite artists dropped a album called Santiago, which is my last name, also the name of the main character in The Alchemist. And it was an album that was based on that book as I was heading into this unbelievably crazy adventure to go to my homeland for the first time. And I remember listening to the album and crying as the plane hit the tarmac. And it was such
Wow.
a moment of like, yeah, the universe is curating an experience for you, and you get to
Yeah.
on this incredible adventure.
Beautiful. So
Yeah,
the way you kind of were sort of you landed into that by having this book, a name
yeah,
companion, somebody that the character of
totally,
the book resonated with you, but not only because of your last name, but also because of the content of the book, the story.
totally.
And then you felt like you landed into your homeland in a different way because of that
Yeah.
as well.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. It felt like I was meant to be here right at this moment in this exact same frame of mind. And it just felt like just a perfect marriage of where I ended up and where I was supposed to be,
Yeah.
and also feeling at home, even if
Mm.
though it was a place I'd never been to.
Right.
And just really embracing the idea of like, oh, I'm on an adventure, and no matter what happens, it's all happening for me.
Yeah. I really like the contrast between, well, to me, it sounds like a contradiction, home and adventure.
Yeah,
So, how home, coming home or going home to where you originated from, was also an adventure because you didn't really know it, but you felt it in your bones, in your body, that this is the place where I should definitely go to,
a hundred
to,
percent.
to find something.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
they say like if something feels new, it can't feel like home, but that was the opposite. It felt both
Mm.
new and adventurous, but it also felt like, oh, I'm at the crib. I never
Wow.
been to the crib. I never been home. I've never seen humans who look exactly like me and are asking me, where are you from? Like they just
Yes.
kind of thought we knew, oh, this is where I'm from. Yeah, it was beautiful. It
Oh.
was such a beautiful moment.
Yeah. And is this one of the events in your life that actually changed the course of your decisions after that? Or is there another moment in life that really made a pivot?
Yeah, that definitely. I think I have those. I try and have those moments on a daily basis, but that was definitely one of them. But in terms of like a moment that was truly transformational, I was a high school dropout, so I dropped out of high school a couple of times. I failed the GED, which is in America is this test that you take that is the high school equivalence. I
Mm-hmm.
was an 18-year-old kid. Literally, I would ride a bus every day to nowhere. I didn't have anything
Oh.
else to do. My mama was like, "Yo, when I leave the house, you ain't got no job. You ain't going to school. You got to get out the house the same time I do." So I would hop on the bus in the morning and I would just ride this bus to nowhere. And one of my homies one day was like, "Hey, I just signed up for a poetry slam, and I had no idea what
Mm-hmm.
poetry was in terms of in the context of a poetry slam or competition. But I went and I put on my fanciest $10 Salvation Army sports coat. And I remember to this day walking into the San Francisco Opera House. It's
Mm-hmm.
a massive theater, huge ceilings, walking into this 3,000 person theater as my homie was walking on stage.
Mm.
And I remember he started his poem, and I looked back and I saw 3,000 people listening to him. And we had both come from the same neighborhoods. And it was the first time I had seen 3,000 people listen to folks like us. And that was in
Yeah.
a moment of immediate transformation and kind of set my life on the trajectory that it is now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So once you'd seen that, that deeply landed in you, I can tell by the way you're talking about it. How
totally.
did that then influence your further steps from being a school dropout to what did you do next?
I mean, the first thing I did was like, all right, who putting this on? And I went out and I found the organization and I literally started picking up boxes and putting away chairs. And they were like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just trying to help."
Ah,
But what that really did is it sparked in me the desire to want to create that space for other people.
yeah.
And so I started off as an intern. The organization is an organization that still exists. I started off as an intern, as an 18-year-old intern. 12 years later, I became the executive director of that organization and was there for a little while and got a chance to help create spaces like that. Transitioned out, a few years later, but it was such a full circle moment. But the
Mm.
desire to build and create spaces for humans to share story, to listen, to observe, to be in relationship, to provide that energetic reciprocity of story is kind of my life's mission.
Yeah, beautiful. So you
Yeah.
say this your mission is the energetic reciprocity of.
Yeah, of the exchange of story. I think that being
Yeah.
able to hear, listen, in some ways empathize, identify with another human story. There's a one of my favorite books is called Sapien, and it talks about how Homo sapiens, they're the genetic trait that created distance between them and the other hominoid species was their ability to tell story, their ability to lean into fiction, their ability to gossip. And so
Yep.
I do think there's an innate survival instinct for us to listen, hear, and share stories.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a great invitation actually for you to share one of your favorite stories, maybe in a short version since we don't have an hour.
Yeah.
But let's see. Is there a story that comes up that you would love to actually tell
Great
the listeners?
question. Yeah, I think I'll share a story about a young man who I think about all the time. His name was
Mm.
Celestino, and I was like a 20-year-old who was teaching at the same high school that I had dropped out of. I was teaching critical literacy arts and poetry, and Celestino was this amazing young man who he was on the verge of dropping out. I can tell because I'm like, I did the same thing. And him and
Yeah.
I decided to, we were going to read the books that Tupac Shakur, who was an American rapper from the West Coast, he had read 180 books in his life. And Celestino and I were decided we're going to try and read all those books together. And I remember we would connect every couple of weeks. And really, he would just sit there and teach me. And he was like, a youngster who was figuring out, he probably was like 15 at the time. He was figuring out his life. School didn't fit his way of learning, but he was teaching me. He was like my teacher. And
Mm.
we did that for like a whole year. We got through a few books. We got through The Art of War, 48 Laws of Power, Machiavelli to Prince, which were all the books that, for whatever reason, interest Celestino. And it was a moment where I learned that even as an educator and as a teacher, your job is to learn. Um,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, Celestino passed away a
Mm.
few years ago. But it's something that I carry with him always as it taught me to be a lifelong learner and that the
Right.
most important ability that you can is to learn from others, to learn from every situation. So that's a story that I tell. It's beautiful, but also it's also sad because I don't think that he ever had Celestino never had a place where he felt like he could learn in safety
Mm.
in terms of in school. And that's important. That's important to me.
Yeah, it is very important. I really believe that when we have the psychological safety and enough of a nurturing around us to support us, then we can learn. Then we can have the capacity
Exactly.
to open up to awe, to open up to wonder and joy. And when that's not there, it's really difficult.
And that should
So
be a human right. The idea of being able to feel safe while you're able to learn. It should
yes,
be a human right. Sure.
absolutely. Yeah. So thank you so much. That's a beautiful story. And I think it's so valuable to hear how you saw him. You really saw him because it's something that he was going through. You recognized it. So this
Mhm.
human to human connection was already there without even saying anything. And then you were in the position at the time to spend time with him and to go through those books with him and to learn with him. And I think that's so beautiful that in that way it was reciprocal as well. It was just, yeah, like the exchange of energy, just that you were saying before.
100%. 100%. I feel like I got so much more out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, to this day, he's still teaching me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then are you still teaching other people as well? Or what, how is your life awesome right now? Let's ask
Yeah,
it
no,
that way.
no. So I'm the president of an organization called the Peace Studio. And
All
what we
right.
do is we train artists, storytellers, and journalists to catalyze a culture of peace through their stories. And so
Mm-hmm.
we work with multidisciplinary artists. We work with different journalists of different kinds, cultural catalysts, and we have immersive professional artistic development and trainings. We have really awesome rooted and grounded fellowships. We're actually working right now, we're about to go into work on a multidisciplinary immersive theater production,
Oh,
all
wow.
centered around story, but all centered around story that in some way is cultivating a culture of peace, love, and power. And that's sort of like our three tenets is you can't have peace without love,
Mm-hmm.
because peace without love can just feel like the absence of conflict. You can't
Mm-hmm.
have love without peace. I've loved people and it hasn't been peaceful, but
Right.
love with peace. And then you can't have peace without power. Power
Mm-hmm.
is the thing that transforms peace from it being symbolic to being structural. And so those are the
Right.
three things that we try and land on. But I love my life. I get a chance to travel the country and the world and try to seed containers where folks can be themselves and share a story in their artistry.
Yeah. And do you still work specifically with young people, or do you work with anybody who's ready to do storytelling, to learn storytelling?
Yeah, predominantly younger, early mid-career folks, but I'm always I say that I make myself feel old and young at the same time. I'm always with some youngsters.
Yeah.
The age range is like 18 to 30, but even outside of my career or my job, I'm always working with young people in some way.
Yeah. Great. And I remember our conversation at the college as well, where we said it would be so amazing to make this accessible to people with a different background, with
Yes.
maybe less money, less inclination to even go to a theater, or
Yes.
culturally, maybe it's not the place where they tend to go, but to make storytelling and learning and experiences that are extraordinary, to make that available to these young people.
It should be. I think it should
Yeah.
be right. We should have access to places that activate our critical imagination as much as possible.
Absolutely. And so, how does this work for you? How is your critical imagination activated?
Yeah, at my heart's core, I'm an artist.
Hmm.
From that moment on, when I became an intern, I also became a spoken word artist and a theater artist and a filmmaker. I don't get a chance to delve into my own art as much. I say right now, my art is kind of my impact. But I think reminding myself always that I can't want to build spaces for storytellers unless I'm continuously practicing the art of storytelling. So for me,
Yes. Yeah.
being in the places that I am is always a reminder. Like, now you're also an artist, you're also a storyteller, and that's critically important to who you are as a human.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And do you have like spoken word pieces up your sleeve that you could just come out with immediately, or and if not, that's absolutely fine, but I'd love to publish one, or add one to
Oh,
the show notes or something if there's nothing right now. But I was just wondering, maybe one of them is your favorite and it always comes out
right,
just like that.
right on. Yeah, I think it doesn't always translate over Zoom, but maybe I can try. I'll try. I'll drop a few lines if that's okay, and then I can
Sure.
share the full piece. Truly here to heal. Let there be medicine in this moment. Let this be the moment you disown your own fear. Let you stand like David, sling in hand. Let you stand half lion, half lamb. And let there be peace in the most preposterous of places, whether it's in the eye of the storm or where our blocks are breaking. Let us never be shaken. That's a little snippet of a piece that is about, yeah, how important it is to cultivate peace no matter the circumstances.
It was beautiful. Thank you
Uh,
so much. And
yeah.
I would love to publish it as well, because it
Oh, right
just,
on.
yeah, I think it's so worth having other people hear this and experience the power of spoken word as well. So I love that you use your art as a way to access awe, as a way to cultivate your practice as an artist and as an educator and as an experienced designer as well. I think it's
Thank you so
beautiful.
much.
Is there anything that you feel you would like to share with any listeners that are listening for awe? Because the reason they
Mm,
listen to this podcast is because they're looking for more awe in life. That's what I
mm,
hope to offer with this podcast.
mm.
Is there anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I think that sometimes finding awe, it's not happenstance, it's actually a practice. And
Mm,
that if you practice and focus on the thoughts and feelings that bring that awe, you can find awe in every place. There's a concept or a term that I like to use. It's called metanoia, which is it means that every specific second or every specific moment has the potential for lifelong transformation. And I
mm,
think I've been trying to learn how to practice that metanoia, practice every single moment being in a place where I'm open to transformation, I'm open to awe, even in the moments of like crazy civil unrest or economic upheaval or political, turbulent political climates. If you could practice and focus on the moments that the universe is showing off, I feel like it transforms the mind. And I'm working on that. I'm not there, but it's something that I'm trying to practice on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think a practice. I love the idea that we can cultivate it. We can open ourselves up to trying and failing, but not failing as in we fucked up or we messed up. Pardon my French, but the way we transform that as a learning experience.
Exactly.
So practice. I don't believe practice makes perfect. I believe practice opens up pathways. That's how I
love
see
that.
it. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Practice opens up. Exactly. It creates habits. It does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beautiful. So for now, we have to close this conversation, but I really loved speaking to you about awe and about how this shows up in your life. And I think you are a very inspiring person. So let's keep the conversation going outside of the Awecast. And I'll make sure people know where to find you in the show notes if they want to know more.
So grateful to be on. Thank you so much. I'm inspired by you and really grateful that you have me on your show.
And it's a wrap. Thank you very much for listening to the Awecast today. My name is Dorchester Koning. I'm the founder of Awe Academy, a center for professional and personal development through training outdoors and with art. If you're interested to know more, look me up on aweacademy.live.